mercenaries, really, that's the double M. Born baller, baby boy, I be above the rim.
What's good, family? It's your boy Just Blaze, host of the best NBA pod in the game, Above the Rim. Keep it locked each week and join myself and a special guest as we tackle the latest rumblings in the league. If it's happening in the NBA, you know I got you covered. Make sure you subscribe on all platforms and leave that 5-star review. Let's get it.
Fletcher, that might be the best question of the day. I'm glad you asked that. I feel like nobody's ever asked me that, so I'm glad you asked. How I feel about the organization? Per me. I love it here. I love the city of New Orleans. Don't want to be anywhere else. My relationship with Griff, I don't think he can play the piano, last time I checked.
There's Zion and Barrett, Duke teammates, roommates, teammates. Zion, folks, you can see he's put on some pounds, man. He's got to get that weight off.
Talk about it!
You are now tuned in to Above the Rim. Hoops talk for the streets.
Family, what's good? Welcome back to another edition of Above the Rim. Hoops talk for the streets. You already know how we do. Brought to you, as always, it's your host, Justin, a.k.a. Just Blaze. Family, you know the drill. To get in contact with me, you can always hit me up and follow me on Twitter at JustBlaze_513, on IG at JustBlaze513, on Facebook, search Above the Rim Podcast. Email the show as well, Above the Rim NBA Podcast at gmail.com. Tap in and leave the family a voicemail. The line is always open, 908-718-1592. Merch is always ready to be caught. New colors, new flavors. Get your merch. I appreciate you as always. Joining me this week, family. One of my guys I've connected with in this podcast game. Very knowledgeable brother. Good brother. The Zion Williamson Shield himself. Host of The Real Deal. My boy Damian Adams. What's good, my brother? How you living?
I'm living good, man. Always great to be on your show, man, because I'm a big fan, man. So whenever I get an invite, I'm always ready and hyped to get on.
I appreciate you, man. And likewise, man, you know, I always listen to The Real Deal with Damian Adams. So quality work you always sending through the streets. So I appreciate you, my brother.
Oh, appreciate that, sir.
Of course. Yeah, so let's get right into this action, man. You know what time it is, how we start off each and every episode, copping or dropping segment. Copping or dropping is where I throw a couple of hot takes from the streets, and if you agree, you copping. If you disagree, you're dropping. So let's start off with Ja Morant. Man, Ja Morant has been unreal this season. In my top 5 players in the league right now, averaging 28, 5, and 7, dominating the league from the point guard position. Currently top 2 or 3 in the league for most points per game scored in the paint at 6'2", 6'3". Second in fast break points per game. He's finding his voice now 3 years into the league, becoming the leader of that young Grizzlies team. So, Damian, copping or dropping this take, brother. Ja Morant will make an All-NBA team this year. Copping or dropping?
Oh, All-NBA.
All-NBA.
You know.
Past All-Star, All-NBA. Talk to me.
Top 6. You know what? I'm going to cop it. I'm going to cop it.
Tell me why. Talk to me.
Looking at the way he started the year, I can see him maintaining this because of the efficiency and the way he's going about it. It's not as if he's out here and he's shooting, 60% from 3, and it's something that you know is not going to be sustainable throughout the year. The stats he's putting up now are stats he can continue to put up throughout the whole season. And I see him hitting that point where a lot of times you'll hear analysts say the game is slowing down. You hear him say like, it looks like he's finally finding his groove. It seems like he's in that point where he knows exactly where to go, where to be, and how to use his explosiveness in the right way. He's still going to have times where he tries to dunk on people when he doesn't have any business trying to. But
he's daring, man. He's bold. I tell you that.
Yeah. Nah, I love it. He's bold. He's definitely going to get a few posters in his day. But I love how he's just his pace, everything he's doing on the court. And something that really stood out to me is how he takes accountability. When they played against the Lakers, he had a mistake late. He was quick to say, my fault. That's on me. And I think that maturity is going to help him stay grounded with these stats. And I can see him being one of the top 6 guards in this league. So I'm going to cop it and say he will make All-NBA this year.
I like that, brother. I'm going to double down with you. I'm copping that as well, man. I'm copping it, but I had to think about it too, the same way you did as well, because I looked at the All-NBA teams last year, right? So last year it was Steph and Luka was the first team. CP3 and Dame was the second team. And Kyrie and Bradley Beal was the third team. So I'm looking at that list. I'm like, somebody definitely has to drop off, which I think it'll be tough, but maybe CP drops off that. He's either maybe third team or maybe he's off that. Dame Lillard, with how he started to the season, that could be something to watch. Kyrie might not even play this season. We don't know what's going on over there. And I think Bradley Beal might make it again as well, maybe in the second or third, depending on how the Wizards finish. So I can definitely see that list being shaken up, and I can definitely see Ja being an All-NBA. I would go All-NBA third teamer, because I think there's also some politics that go involved with the All-NBA team voting. So I think if he sustains his pace, 28, 5, and 7, damn, that's crazy for him. Leading or top 2 or 3 in the league in points per game. I don't know if he can sustain that the entire season, but he can definitely be top 5 at this pace. If he gets the Grizzlies, let's say, well, you can't even say into the playoffs because they were in there last year, but if the Grizzlies can somehow be a 6th or 7th seed, I think definitely Ja Morant will be in the All-NBA team. Third team, I could definitely see him getting, but it's going to be tough though, because there's a lot of guards playing well this year, Damian. It's going to be tough to get in that All-NBA team slot.
Yeah, no, for sure. But like you mentioned, the absence of Kyrie is a big one there.
Yeah.
So I think that's a free spot that can go to him.
Harden is there too, remember? Levine.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of all the guards now. Levine, Trae Young.
It's tough.
It's going to be tough. He's going to have to ball out of his mind, because I think he has to get past probably the popularity aspect, which I don't know, because Ja Morant is actually becoming very popular this season, though, actually. So it could work in his favor.
Yeah. Is he popular, though, with older writers who vote? That's my question.
That's a good point.
Because he's definitely popular when it comes to us, people on social media who, watch the game every day. But the older writers who tend to still only go towards the people that they are familiar with, right? Because they're not going to see Memphis on national TV every day.
Exactly.
So is he going to be popular enough with them to get that vote? That's going to be the part he has to overcome.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. And I tell you right now, I'm rooting for him, because I think if he continues on this pace, he should definitely be an All-NBA third teamer. But he's definitely got to be an All-Star first. So I know I jumped the gun with All-NBA over All-Star, but I'm assuming he will be an All-Star this year if he doesn't get injured.
Gotta be.
He was on pace last year to be an All-Star as well, but he did get hurt, I think, like a month before the All-Star break or something like that. So as long as he stays healthy, I think he can definitely hit that All-NBA team, probably the third team. So moving on, we got to talk about some Zion right now. You're a Pelicans guy, so I'm sure you're frustrated with the start of the season. Zion has yet to touch the hardwood this season, but when he's actually been on the court, he's been a force. Last year, his numbers were 27 and 7, played 61 games, the number 8 scorer in the league. So DA, copping or dropping this take, brother? When Zion does return, Zion will be a top 5 scorer in the league this season. Copping or drop?
Oh, top 5.
Top 5. Number 5 currently is Giannis at 27 points per game currently. So when he does return, will he be a top 5 scorer in the league? Copping or dropping for your man Zion? Talk to me.
I'm going to have to drop it for right now because I feel like it's going to take him a while to get into his groove. As far as getting back into it. Now with him, because he's so good in the paint and so good at getting to the goal, he'll still be efficient. But I think they'll probably be careful with him. They'll probably baby him like they did the last couple times back from injury. So he won't be getting the minutes to get the 28 points a game. So I think it's going to take a while for him to get into that groove. So I'm going to say dropping it, not because of him, but because of the situation.
I hear you on that. I'm going to actually drop that as well, but a weird drop, because I actually think that he really can be top 5, because that if with the way the game is played this season, right? With a lot of the scoring being down, and we're going to get into that discussion of why the numbers are down and scoring all across the board. It's possible that he could get to a little 27, because I looked at the top 5 right now. I'm like, Giannis is there at 27. Giannis, I could see going up. There's a couple of guards there ahead of him. Remember, Ja's ahead of him. We'll see how he continues on pace. KD is up there. I think he's going to continue to be top 5. Steph is up there. He's going to continue to be top 5. But remember, Beal was up there last year. His scoring is down this season. So it's going to be interesting because as a semi-big man, because I don't want to call him a big man, but he's not really a big man. He's only 6'7", but he plays big. He can get this. It's possible he can get a couple of extra easy baskets this season, especially in garbage time too as well, because I think Zion, he can score pretty well in garbage time, and we know he's an efficient scorer, so it doesn't take him many shots to get those 27 points. So I think it's possible for him to get that number 5 spot. But me personally, I don't think he's going to get it. So I agree with you. I'm dropping that as well. But the way he scores, I mean, like, it's really interesting the way he scores. But so let's just talk about Zion while we're there, right? The mystery of all mysteries right now, I feel like, going into the season. He's recovered from off-season foot surgery. Now, today we had an update. I think they said 2 or 3 weeks until he's going to be cleared to play, or maybe try to play. Excuse me. The Pelicans played the Knicks the other night. We all saw that video of Zion looking rather hefty. Reportedly around 300 pounds, some people have been saying, which means maybe I don't know if the gumbo has caught up to him or not, but we don't know what's going on over there in New Orleans, brother. But he still hasn't been fully cleared to resume practicing with the team. He's only played in 85 games in his entire career thus far. So let's talk about your expectations for Zion this season. What are you looking forward to seeing from him this season when he finally does come back? And how do you see this season going for him? Do you feel like it's a lost season now because he didn't start it on time? Or what's your expectations for Zion this season? Talk to me.
I don't think it'll be a lost season for him. I didn't expect much from the Pelicans at all this year. Mm-hmm. So the start doesn't surprise me.
So that 1-6 start is normal for you.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting much this year. Like, a lot of people was like, "Are you disappointed?" I was like, "Nah, you gotta have expectations to be disappointed."
I hear that. Good point. Good point.
So for me, I was like, this is what I expected. But as far as for Zion, this could be a year where he can get better. I want to see him expand and shoot some mid-range jumpers. Mm-hmm. I don't need him to be a 3-point shooter unless he's like butt naked open. But as far as just some elbow jump shots, a little mid-range jump shot here and there, a little backboard shot, maybe a little Tim Duncan shot from back in the day. I want to see those type of things add to his game so that when teams are just holding down the paint and had their mindset is not to let him in, he can go to that next step of shooting that mid-range jumper and killing you. And then next thing you know, you got to respect it and hit you with a pump fake, one steppy dunking on you. I just want to see those type of progressions in his game. Defensively, I want to see him move his feet better on defense. Mm-hmm. He can take advantage by guards. So I want to see him do that. And part of that would be playing at the right weight. So if the rumors are true and he's over 300 pounds, we definitely got to get that down.
That's
for sure.
Ridiculous, by the way. 300. That's Oliver Miller category. What's going on? Put them beignets down, brother. Carry on.
No, for sure. Like he definitely got to put the beignets down, the A2 everything. Like he can't mess with none of that. Like, and that's the thing about living in New Orleans. Like, you gotta, if you're gonna be a professional athlete out there, you gotta get your own chef, nutritionist, all that. You can't just be eating like regular people out there because you're not gonna find the healthy options. Like being from Louisiana, like you're not gonna find that stuff. You're not gonna find the gluten-free restaurant. Like you're not gonna have that down there
at all.
So you gotta be disciplined. And him being 21 years old, he's not gonna have that discipline. And also, you know, when you're 21, you're like, I can lose this weight. Yeah, I mean, I'll be good. Like that's your mindset at that time. So for him, I think that hopefully, and you gotta put this on New Orleans as well, the organization. Like, what are you doing? Like, you should be on him all the time. Like, what are you eating? Are you training? If you can't run, are you doing stuff in the swimming pool? What are you doing to get better today, Zion? What are you doing to make sure you're in shape for the season, Zion? Like, they should be on his back about this. And I can't blame the new coach because he's coming into a new situation, but I can blame the GM and the rest of the organization. Like, yo, what are y'all doing? There's no way this guy who his body is his job. There's no way he should be over 300 pounds, man. I understand he's already big, but I would love to see him play at like 260 because he's even at, I think he played last year at 280.
Yeah.
So even down to 260.
That's still too high at 280. For 6'7", 280? Come on, that's bigger than Charles Barkley at that size as well. And he was a little shorter, I believe. I think Barkley was 6'6", 6'5", but the same type of build, but Zion is bigger.
No, and Charles Barkley always tells a story about his rookie year when he wasn't playing.
Yep.
He asked why, and Moses Malone was like, "You fat. Like, you gotta lose weight."
Yep. Straight up.
So I think somebody has to tell Zion that, "Yo, bro, you fat right now. We can't have you doing that. I understand that you're amazing and you can still jump 40 inches off the ground being this big, but that's going to be too much on your knees. We need you to get down a little bit." So I want to see him get in better shape, and hopefully he'll play himself into better shape, but I want to see him get better defensively and expand his game.
I agree. All solid, excellent points that you made. And I love how you brought up the front office and holding them accountable, because I agree with you, man. Like, what's going on right now? You should be on him to make sure that weight doesn't go up, because this is nothing new that we're talking about right now. Coming into the NBA, coming out of college, we already knew he was overweight. We already knew he had the potential to be overweight. So this is something they should have been on him, which I assume they probably were on him a little bit or monitoring it. But they have to do a better job of that, because think about it. If he was drafted to, let's say, what's another organization? Miami. You know how they are with Pat Riley and that body fat over there. Miami, they do not play. There's no big player or a player that's overweight that could last or survive over there in Miami, with the way Pat Riley has that body fat plan on high alert. Anybody who comes there. So.
You can definitely tell over there, like PJ Tucker over there looking like slim.
Yes, very slim. He's looking like a two guard, right? He's two guard size right now, playing center. So we know Pat Riley over there in that Miami Heat organization doesn't play. So if they sent him to a guy like a Pat Riley, I think they would make sure he would have gotten to 270 at the minimum, right? Probably 260, but I would say they wouldn't let him get past 270, 275. So I definitely agree with you that the organization has a lot to do with this, and they have to be held accountable for this, because I forgot when his contract is up. I don't know if is it 2 years or 3 years maybe, but I'll tell you right now, Zion, he may be looking elsewhere because of how the organization has handled him. We don't know how his mind is thinking about this and how his agent is thinking about this. But I want to jump back to the expectations, because I agree. You had a lot of great points when you talk about defensive ability. I think for him too, he has to get some consistent wins under his belt. I feel like for his general psyche right now, he's got to find a comfort zone on the floor to me. He scores, but to me, it isn't impactful as I feel like it should be. A dunk from Zion should feel like a Steph Curry 3 to me. He's a unique big man. He's short in stature, but plays bigger than his height. Efficient scorer. He can handle the ball a little bit, which I have been impressed by. It was a little bit better than I've seen in college. Very explosive. But one thing for me also as well, I need him to rebound the ball a little bit better. 7 rebounds for my point guard. 7 rebounds for my power forward DA is not enough. It's not going to cut it for me. I think he needs to increase his rebounding, which means he needs to get down there a little bit more and bang a little bit more. Use that body. If you remember Zach Randolph, man, when he was getting 20 and 10 nightly easy without being able to jump over a curb, Zach Randolph. So Zion, he got to be shorter than Zach Randolph. Zach Randolph is what, 6'9", maybe 6'8"?
Yeah, I think Randolph's like 6'9".
Yeah, so he's shorter than him. So if Zach Randolph was getting 10 rebounds, Kevin Love is probably the same height or a little bit shorter. He's getting 10 rebounds, 10 or 12 when he was in Minnesota. I feel like Zion needs to up that rebounding count. To that, you say what?
I agree. No, I definitely think he should get more rebounds. I had a Dallas Mavericks fan throwing it at me that Luka was averaging more rebounds at one point.
That's
so
crazy.
You definitely, yeah. So you definitely can't have that happen. He definitely has to do that. I understand last year we had Steven Adams down there. He's going to get a lot of rebounds, especially when he's not playing with someone like Russell Westbrook. He's going to be down there getting the boards. Jonas Valanciunas is somebody who eats up boards as well. Like, he's averaging like 14 right now.
Yeah, he's playing well, by the way.
He is. He's like one of the few bright spots of him, B.I., Devontae Graham a little bit. But yeah, Valanciunas is somebody who gets a lot of rebounds too. So that could impact Zion's rebound numbers because Valanciunas is going to eat up so many. But I do want to see him get more rebounds. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I definitely need to see him. I would like 10, at least 9. But you got to give me 10, man. Come on, man. You're on power forward. You got to give me 10 rebounds, man. I don't want to hear any lip about that 10 rebounds. You need to get at least that. So Zion now, like I said, 85 games he's played in his career. Do you still consider him a franchise player still, even though availability is not his strong suit? DA, talk to me.
Yeah, I definitely consider him a franchise player. Okay. It's kind of similar to Joel Embiid, right? Joel Embiid, that's what his first 2 years on, pretty much his first 2 years, and was able to come back from that. He still has his health issues here and there. He's definitely a franchise guy because he's so good. I think Zion could have that same path of being a franchise guy who may not be able to give you 82 games, but if he's giving us 70, 75, I'll be good with that, right? And I've dealt with the same type of situation with Anthony Davis. Mm-hmm. First few years, Anthony Davis was very injury prone. Got a little better with that. And now I don't think he's injury prone. I call him boo-boo prone, Anthony Davis. He leads the league in boo-boos. Like he just goes to the locker room real quick. He's back. Or that play against the Spurs where I thought he tore everything in his knee and he was back playing 2 minutes later. I've dealt with this before being a Pelicans fan. So I definitely can see Zion getting through this portion of his career and getting better at maintaining his body and being better as far as nutrition. And that's all going to lead to him not being as injury prone. And we've already seen what he does when healthy. So his game speaks for itself. I definitely think he's a franchise player.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I still think he's a franchise player, but I do have to hesitate in thinking if he can be my number one option on a championship team. Now, I think he can be your number one scoring option, but to me personally, if I have Zion on my team, I personally would need an explosive guard to pair with him. An explosive guard who can get you 20 to 25 nightly, also, especially from the perimeter as well. So because of the way Zion plays, and I would love an explosive guard who could get me 20 to 25 from the perimeter, but also play a lot more pick and pop with him. Because I know last year, Pelicans tried something a little bit new. They put the ball in Zion's hands a little bit more. He started to make a few plays. But I think you said it earlier too. I still don't feel like he shot enough mid-range jump shots. We know he can step out and shoot the three. I don't have his percentage in front of me, but he actually shot pretty well as a power forward from the three. So we know he can shoot the three ball, especially when he's open or with a little bit of coverage on him. But I definitely would like to see a lot more pick and rolls, pick and pops with him. But he would also need a point guard capable enough to do those with him, which I don't think the Pelicans have now. But I would like to have an explosive guard who excels in the pick and roll with him. Now, with that being said, do they have the right pieces around Zion? Now, I said they would need an explosive guard. They don't have that right now. B.I. is cool, but he's a three to me. He's not somebody who can keep the ball in his hands for the entirety of the game. He's a wing scorer, an exceptional wing scorer, all-star level wing scorer. And I think he can definitely play next to Zion, but I feel like they also need a distributing point guard to also not necessarily take the ball out of those guys' hands, but put them in better positions to succeed. So with the way the team is set up now, you got Devontae Graham starting there. You got B.I. doing a lot of the playmaking duties. Zion is coming back in, maybe doing some playmaking duties, but we're going to see how Willie Green uses him maybe a little bit differently this season. Do you feel like the Pelicans right now have the right pieces around Zion to succeed? Or if not, what do you feel like they need? Or what type of moves do you think they need to make in order to get the best out of Zion?
Well, I definitely don't think we have the right pieces right now. I just hate the way the roster is constructed. This offseason, I just didn't know what was going on. Like, I don't know what Griff was thinking.
They struck out this offseason, man.
Yeah, it was horrible. Like, just looking at our roster now, we let Lonzo Ball go. Like you described, us needing a guard who can facilitate and put people in the right position. Sounds a lot like Lonzo Ball. We had him on the roster and we just let him go for Garrett Temple and Tomas Satoransky.
Scraps.
And combined, they're averaging 5 points a game.
Ridiculous.
So it's like when you think about it in that way, what are we doing, right? And another thing, I like Jonas Valanciunas. He's playing well this year, right? But before the season, we signed him to an extension. For what?
That was, I didn't understand that move at all.
So the thing that made me even like more upset about is we did the same thing last year with Steven Adams. Mm-hmm. Steven Adams is a good player in a vacuum, but turns out he wasn't the best fit with Zion.
He was a bad fit. I didn't like that fit at all.
Yeah, and then you have to turn around and trade him after signing him to an extension. Why would we turn around and do the same thing with the next big man? Why not at least let him play with Zion for a little bit and see? Like, I compared it to two people meeting each other, boy and girl. Boy gets the number, they talk for a little bit. First date, he proposes. They don't even
call that a simp, my brother.
Like, you don't even know if she crazy or not. She don't know if he crazy or not.
Need a couple meals first.
Yeah, they ain't even had a meal together, but they already committing to each other. That's what this feels like to me.
Yeah.
So I don't get the moves that's been made. And you can go back even further, like us trading away Drew Holiday. Mm-hmm. It was like, unless Drew Holiday went to them and asked for the trade, which I wasn't even going to be mad at Drew Holiday for at that point because he had gave us years of service at that point. Mm-hmm. But unless he went and asked for the trade, why are you doing that? Right? The only good trade we had was when we had to trade Anthony Davis, and the Lakers, for some reason, were just so willing to give us so much for him. But outside of that, I don't like what we've done at all. I do think you can build around Brandon Ingram and Zion, but I would have loved to have the core that I thought we was going to have when we first got Zion of Lonzo, Drew, Brandon Ingram, and Zion as the core to build around. But you mentioned that we don't have the guards right now. And we don't. Devontae Graham is getting points, but he's very inefficient right now. He's shooting 38% from the field. Not from three, from the field right now. So when you see his 18 points a game, it becomes a lot less impressive when you look at those percentages numbers. You got Nickeil Alexander-Walker is doing all right, getting you 14 points a game, but he's also shooting 35% from the field. So we have a lot of people right now who are getting buckets because no one else can get buckets.
Yeah, and to me, he's more of a rotational piece that coming off the bench, giving you instant type of offense. I mean, he's not starter quality caliber.
Yeah, I agree. So we need a true starting point guard, like you said, who can get to the rim, who can run pick and roll with not only just Zion, but also Valanciunas. And Valanciunas can step out and hit the three. So you have a pick and pop partner there. Brandon Ingram, he's big enough to be able to set picks and also be the one handling the ball on the pick and roll. He can do both roles. So there is potential there. But right now the roster is not good. That's why I can't really, because people ask me, how you feel about the Willie Green hire? And I'm like, I can't really judge it. Yeah. Like, he's not in a situation
to
succeed.
It's not a fair assessment yet. It's way too early to judge him.
It's way too early. And also the situation just isn't good. Like, honestly, I feel like I have to wait till next year to really judge him at all.
Yeah.
Because it's not really like set up for him to succeed at all.
Yeah, which is a damn shame, I'm gonna be honest. And I know you're being very nice about your boys right now, but I'm gonna be honest with you, DA. This lineup looks like it's off the scrap heap right now. I'm gonna be honest with you. Aside from B.I., Valanciunas, iffy on him. He can be iffy in spots. He's playing exceptional this season. He's playing excellent, but I feel like that's just because there isn't much on the roster to get buckets. I'm not liking this roster right now, man. They definitely fumbled the bag this summer, of course. I know they went after Lowry, didn't get Lowry. I forgot the other point guard that they went after. I can't even remember who was it. They went after somebody. But just I don't know the direction that the front office is going with right now. And now if the goal is to entice Zion with a roster to keep him there, this ain't it at all. And as far as we look at what's the relationship like between Ingram and Zion, I've never really seen them hang out really. I don't really look at those two as boys or friends. And to me, if those are your two building blocks, I feel like at least the public needs to see some sort of camaraderie or relationship between those two. I don't know if it's maybe just me that I haven't seen it, but have you seen anything with those two to say that their chemistry is off the charts to be your two cornerstones?
No, I haven't. And with people who, like, friends I have who still live there and, you know, go to home games, they say you don't really see them interacting with each other.
Yeah, at all.
Yeah, at all. You know, like watching League Pass games, normally you'll catch something, you know, like, oh, okay, I can see this. Nah, I don't really see it between those two. And I don't know if there's a bad relationship there. Like, I don't know if it's Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid type. Hopefully it's not there. But you would like to see them be like close, and because that chemistry matters. Like, we play ball, so you know that, like, you have somebody who you're really cool with.
Yes,
they're gonna have your back on that court.
Of course, you pass him the ball a little bit more. You screen for him a little bit harder. All of that kind of stuff matters when you actually like a dude that you're playing with, and also when times go bad, you guys still trust each other. So that's important. Which I don't know what's going on with that roster. I've literally never seen Zion and B.I. together off the floor. Now, I could be wrong, but me personally, with my own two eyes, I've never seen those two brothers off the floor together at anything. So that, to me, right there is just an optics problem for me. So I feel like that type of stuff spills onto the floor. So there's no camaraderie, no trust really between those two. And they need to get that together because time is ticking, brother. It's ticking right now. And let's rewind now when Zion was drafted, 2019. Obviously, we know he was the number 1 pick. Number 2 pick was Ja Morant. Number 3 pick was RJ Barrett. This season in particular now, with Zion haven't had that many games under his belt, those rumblings are starting to come about. Those shades of 07 KD and Greg Oden type of draft, with Ja Morant playing out of his mind this season. RJ Barrett even coming into his own right now this season, averaging 17, had a 35-point night, with Zion looking at him on the bench with his anime outfit. I don't know what Zion was wearing. I don't know what was going on there, man. I'm just disappointed with him. But if it was a 2019 redraft right now, DA, are you still drafting Zion Williamson as your number 1 pick?
Yes, I will still have to pick number 1. It's tough, not gonna lie to you. I love Ja Morant. I'm a big fan of his. And I remember going into that lottery thinking, I didn't think we would get that number 1 pick because we only had like a 6% chance.
Yeah. They were hyped too when they got that number 1 pick.
I went crazy when we got it. Yeah. I didn't expect it, but I was at the point I was hoping for number 2. I was like, we probably won't get number 1, but we get number 2, we get Ja Morant, and we could build around him. So I honestly was going into the lottery thinking, let's get number 2, let's get Morant, because I didn't think we had a true chance at number 1. But once we got number 1, I'm like, okay, we got Zion. And even though Zion wasn't the happiest to see us get that number 1, he didn't seem too happy about it. I was like, all right, he'll warm up to the city and he'll, warm up to the organization, but it hasn't happened yet. But I do think that they made the right decision because Zion, when right, is such a different player. Like, Ja Morant is spectacular, but you can find other people in the Ja Morant mold, right? Like, he's a younger Westbrook. But there'll be somebody who comes along who's explosive like that. D-Rose type, them kind of guys. Yeah, exactly. But with Zion, you got him, maybe Charles Barkley you could compare him to from back in the day. But he's really one of a kind. And I think when you have that type of one of a kind player, you have to take on number 1.
I hear all of that. And I agree with you on, I think he's one of one. I think he's similar body type than Charles, but he's heavier, but he jumps higher, way more hops than Charles ever has. So to me, he's a one of one. I don't think there's ever been a player like Zion, and with his explosiveness mixed with the power too, and then also being light on his feet at that weight. And it's gonna be tough because in order to sustain that style of play, you do have to be light on your feet, which means you do have to drop some pounds. So he's going to have to drop some pounds one way or another. So I'm going to say, it's easy to say, I asked that because it's a tough question and it's easy in hindsight to say you would take Ja Morant over Zion Williamson. But at that time, I don't think the Pelicans had another choice other than to take Zion. I think they would have been crazy not to take him, and I think other people would have looked at them as being crazy for not taking him, because at that time when they took him, he wasn't injured. It was still coming off the tournament, so he wasn't injured at that time. But he did have that. It was I forgot. It was in the Duke game when he blew out of his sneaker, and so we knew that there's potential of things like this happening to him. But in hindsight, I definitely don't think they regretted taking Zion number one. I feel like you guys had to at that number one pick. But me personally, I honestly like Ja Morant better coming into the draft, me personally, because I'm a point guard guy, me in particular. So I was very big on Ja Morant coming in the draft. But if I was a draftee right now in hindsight, I would pick Ja Morant over Zion Williamson. But it's still like a incomplete diagnosis for Zion because he still hasn't played enough. Like, you got to give me, I wouldn't say a full season, but 75 games. Like a good, strong 75 games Zion has to give us before we can fully evaluate him, Ja, and RJ at the same time.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And with the Pelicans, you don't know when he's going to play, because at first they was like, oh, he'll be ready for opening night.
Yeah.
Now it's 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks from now, it's going to be, we got to reevaluate him again. Like, so for me, that's why I'm not really getting hyped for, 2 weeks from now he'll be playing. Like, I just gotta, until he gets on the court, that's when I'll believe it.
You sound like you scarred, brother.
Yeah, I am, man. Like, this offseason really put me just in a bad mood towards the organization, because it was such a bad offseason. Like, we didn't do anything positive. All you heard was the rumors of, maybe get Kyle Lowry. Why would Kyle Lowry want to come to this roster?
No, for what?
Exactly.
You can't even give us a firm date of when your star player is going to be back. Why would he? And look at the decision that he made. Was that better than going to the Heat? Not at all.
No, so he's trying to win championships. So of course he's going to go to an organization like the Heat. They talked about Chris Paul was one of the rumors. I'm like, Chris Paul not coming to us.
Yeah, I don't know where they got that from. Man, I would have been pissed off if you went over there. I'd have been like, oh man, this might as well retire, bro.
Like, I could see if New Orleans was his hometown.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, we're trying to get him to come back home. But nah, he was drafted by us. He probably appreciates that, but he's not going to come back. Nah.
Yeah, man. So it's going to be interesting to see how the season plays out for the Pelicans. And I definitely think we could probably give up on the playoff hopes this season, because it doesn't look like a playoff roster. But we'll see.
I gave up on that when we let Lonzo Ball go. I was like, we're not making the
I hear that. I ain't mad at you for that, man. So let's pivot. A little bit. So I want to talk about the big fiasco going on in the NBA right now, the free throw shooting crisis, I guess we're going to call it, going on in the NBA. There's a lot of bitching going on about free throw shooting. So for the past 2 or 3 years, the NBA pretty much has been becoming a very offensive-friendly game. Offensive players have been finding ways to draw fouls on every other possession, it feels like. This summer, the NBA took note to introduce some new rules this season to change some of those ticky-tack fouls, the foul baiting that a lot of the players were doing, which attributed to more free throws, longer games, higher scoring, all of that good stuff. Now, some of the players have been tight. James Harden, Trae Young in particular. And Trae Young in particular believes legitimate fouls are now not being called in light of the new rules. His free throw attempts are down from 8 to 4, from 8 last year to 4. James Harden's free throw attempts are down this year from 7 to 5 now. Scoring is down as a whole. The NBA so far this season has the fewest free throw attempts per game ever. I think the lowest field goal percentage since 2003, the lowest three-point percentage since the year 2000, and the lowest offensive rating since 2014. Scoring, like I said before, is down all across the board. The top scorers are down. Steph averaging 32 last year. I think it's 27 to 28 this year. Beal scoring is down over 30 to 24. Dame is down from 28 to 19. So a lot of players' scoring has been affected by these new NBA rule changes, and they have been pretty much met with differing opinions depending on who you're talking to. Some guys like us We like the foul. We like the new NBA rules. Some of the NBA players don't like the new NBA rules. Some of the coaches definitely don't like the new NBA rules because it may be affecting their win or loss record. I don't know how it's predicated on free throws, but that's another issue for another day. So talk to me, DA, the new NBA rules now. Are you a fan of these? And who do you feel like is most affected by these new NBA rule changes? Talk to me.
I love it so much. When I tell you, like, the flow of the game is so much better when you're not constantly stopping it for free throws. And you don't want to see people get fouled and then not get called. There's been a few of those. Like, there was a few on James Harden. Like, there was one that stood out from the Pacers game where he got hit a couple times going to the goal. But with James Harden, it's also a product of him fooling referees for years. Yes. So with him now, with the new rules, referees are going to tend not to call the ones where he flails, because they're already thinking you're trying to fool them because you've been trying to fool them for years. And being somebody who plays basketball, I couldn't imagine how frustrated I would get if I'm guarding you. You're driving with your right hand, but you're left-handed. You grab me with your left hand, then you shoot the ball up and get a foul on me. Like, I would go ballistic if somebody did that to me.
And the key word you said is you grab me.
Yes, he would do it all the time and get that call. And it was where legit people would start guarding him with their hands behind their back. Like, there's so it's
crazy. Who did that? The Lakers, I think, did that, right?
Yeah, I think it was Josh Hart when he was on the Lakers. Yeah, he was guarding him with his hands behind his back. Like, it's that the fact that he felt like he had to do that. And it was like a legit thing. Like, it wasn't like he was just like kind of like, you know, turn his nose down at the referee doing it. No, he did it because he's like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I have to put my hands behind my back when guarding this dude because he's going to find some way to get some cheap foul on me. So for James Harden complaining, I'm not trying to hear none of it. None of it. Because like I said, he got away with murder for years doing that type of stuff. As far as Trae Young, I can see how it could be difficult for him because he's grown up in this new era. So he's learned from watching the Chris Pauls, watching the Steph Currys, watching all these great point guards being able to manipulate the floor on how to get these foul calls. So he has to adjust. But I can see why it could be frustrating for him. But as a fan, this is amazing. I love it. Like, let this continue. Don't have the BS fouls. Take the non-basketball plays out of basketball. That's all we want.
And, you know, I find it so funny and crazy how Steve Nash was talking about James Harden is the poster boy for these new rules coming about, when Trae Young basically said that he modeled his game after Steve Nash. And then last year, Steve Nash was complaining about Trae Young last year, saying that he was foul baiting. And didn't he say, I think verbatim, that he said this is not basketball, or there were non-basketball plays for Trae Young last year, which was crazy to me. And now he's over here complaining about James Harden when the shoe was on the other foot. And you made some phenomenal points, brother. I got to agree with you on a lot of those fronts. And how I look at it is, too many guys to me were conditioned to play for the foul or rather than playing for the score. And it's showing. Guys that usually complain, they can't get into a rhythm without all of these freebies. And I love it. I agree with you. I love it. The rate of play and the pace of play is better. I feel like there are more skills on display. More per game numbers are like more relatable on a historical scale, because I like that the scoring is down a little bit. It's more 90s-ish, maybe early 2000s-ish with the type of scoring. People are not averaging over 35 a game anymore. It's 27, 26, and you really got to earn those buckets. So some of these averages the last couple of years especially have been a tad inflated due to the excess of free throws. So I agree with you there on a lot of those fronts. And I feel like guys, they have to recondition themselves now to play and stop going up for those fouls. You either got to take that contact, get that hit, or put it on the onus, put the onus on the refs to make that call. Or you just got to go out there just trying to get the bucket. You got to earn every basket now. And I love it, DA.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, bro. Like, watching the game is more enjoyable. Draymond Green said it.
Yeah.
Now, even though Draymond Green's a defender, he's going to, of course, love rules that help him as a defensive guy. But he's right. Watching the game is more enjoyable when you're not constantly stopping. Like, there was games where James Harden went to the free throw line 20, 22 times.
Bruh.
It's like, come on, bro. Like, and you get, it's a skill. It is a skill to be able to create fouls, but it shouldn't be the goal. Like you said, the goal should be to get buckets. And if you get fouled on the way there, cool, and one. Like, that's part of it, but it shouldn't be the goal to try to get the foul in the first place. So I'm glad they're changing it now to where mindsets will change, where it's like, okay, let me get this bucket. Now I'm gonna go hard to the goal to where the referees have to respect and call a foul.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, with James Harden, he was really abusing the shit out of taking advantage of some of these refs too. And it's also, I got to give the refs some respect, some credit too, because it's also very hard to call these fouls appropriately in real time game action, because you really can't see Harden. He does it so slickly. I mean, he's trained to do this, really grabbing the defensive player's arm when he has the ball. So a lot of those times, they're low-key offensive fouls, especially when he throws his shoulder in and grab you at the same time. And then he's a big guy on top of it. So it's definitely difficult to officiate that. And especially those last couple of years in Houston before James went to Brooklyn, his last year, I believe he was averaging, like, I think I said it in the last episode, like 23 combined 3-point attempts and free throw attempts at the line, which was on like a historic pace. Right. I think he was shooting 11 free throws a game, 11 or 12 free throw attempts per game, which to me is honestly ridiculous. Shooting that many free throws per game, one individual player. Like, listen, everybody gets fouled. We know everybody gets fouled, but to say that I know some of those are ticky-tack calls, that you're getting 12 free throw attempts per game. And now all of a sudden you go from 12 to 7 last year and now down to 4. So it's definitely affecting his scoring as a whole. So with that being said, a lot of the scorers, their scoring average is down. Do you look at any players differently now because of how they were affected by this rule change this season?
I'm not going to say I look at them differently. I'm going to give it more time. Like someone like Dame, I'm a huge Dame fan, so I definitely don't want to jump on him too early. He's not looking good right now.
The streets are scared to jump on Dame. I'll tell you that, especially the NBA Twitter too. They're giving him a long leash and some leeway on him. But carry on, because I definitely see people are afraid to say stuff about Dame the same way they talk about Harden in that way.
Yeah, and the reason I think people are is because as soon as you say something, he's going to drop 60 the next night.
That is true. That is true.
So I feel like people are hesitant because you're like, you don't want to be that guy to go off that ledge. Yeah. Then boom, he come back and drop 60.
You don't want to end up on freezing cold takes too with that.
Exactly. So that's why I feel like people are hesitant on Dame, because he's got such a track record of like, okay, he might go through his little cold spurt, but then boom, he'll hit 5 straight games where he's just going nuts. So with him, I think he'll be fine. He was also bad in the Olympics too, so that part's a little like, what's really going on there? Because in the Olympics, Kevin Durant had to take over, and when you think Dame would be the guy, outside of Durant to really help the team out, and he was kind of just a decoy.
Didn't the Olympics as a whole, the whole entire team kind of struggled too as well, because they were kind of implementing the same kind of rule changes during the FIBA play, and they were struggling to score also as well, that Olympic team.
Yeah, it was KD was the only one, and maybe because he's a little bit older than the younger guys, he got to play a little more of that physical style coming up. Mm-hmm. So maybe he's a little more used to it, So it's going to take a while for people to adjust. I'm not looking at anybody differently. James Harden, he got to stop complaining. He's still, top 10, 12 player in the league. Yeah. But if for him, I want to see him adjust and get back to, because there was a time where he wasn't doing that. Right, where he wasn't searching for the foul, he wasn't doing those extra things we talked about. Like I said, that just makes me so mad. Like the grabbing of somebody and getting a foul, it makes me so mad. But if he stops doing that and just continues to get buckets, like we've seen the last couple of games where he's starting to get into his groove, he can be that same guy.
Or did he do enough complaining where they're letting him rock now?
That could be part of it too, right? Because he did get a lot of foul calls in his last game. I think he'll have games where some refs will go back into some old habits just because it is something new. So he'll have games where he's able to do that. But I think overall, he'll have to get used to the new style. I don't think the complaining is going to work enough, especially with the positive feedback the NBA is getting. The NBA hears the fans.
Yeah.
So they're going to be like, okay, we're going to continue to referee in the same way because the fans are saying it's a better product.
Yep.
You got to adjust. So I don't think he'll be able to cry his way into fouls too many times. Like, he'll have a few games here and there, but for the most part, he's going to have to adjust these new rules. So if I was going to give anybody the side eye, it'll be James Harden for complaining. But all those guys are still so talented that they'll be able to adjust.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And I think it's a slippery slope also with that, because I think this is going to be more on the forefront and more looked at and more into the spotlight when we get to the playoffs, because it's a lot more physical in the playoffs, and I think the foul calls are going to be way down in the playoffs even more. So a lot of these guys who are lying on those easy baskets, those easy free throws and freebies, are not going to get those calls. So am I looking at James Harden? I would say also, I would say I agree with you. Like a little side eye, I'm looking at James, because I feel like he's better than this. Like, even with this rule change, he should be able to adapt. Because early in the season, you see how Steph Curry, he didn't get the call in the beginning of the year. And what did he do? He just adapted. He didn't complain about it. He just adapted his game a little bit so that it wouldn't affect him as much. Now, James Harden, he's being real stubborn right now. He's got to adapt that game. He's got to play a whole lot better as a whole. I don't want to see foul or free throws being the blame of his poor play lately, because his just overall aggression as a whole hasn't been there, and you can't just blame it on fouls. It has to be more than that. And some of those rap duels he was doing was egregious, like you were talking about. They were a little crazy. So James Harden, he's got to adjust his game. He's got to adapt. And listen, DA, man, these free throws ain't free anymore, man. You got to earn them now, brother.
And I love it. I love that you have to earn your way to the free throw line. Like I said, get the bucket. If you happen to go to the free throw line on the way, cool, perfect. It's a bonus. Yeah. That's what it should be, a bonus, not an expectation.
Yeah.
And that's what it is now. It's a bonus for going to the rim hard, for doing your job, not an expectation of you being able to cheat the referees.
Well said. So would you say, before we move on, do you think the game has, the rule changes has improved the way the game has been played as a whole thus far?
Definitely. Like I said, I love the flow, because your game is just going smoothly. That's what basketball is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a free-flowing game. Like Kyrie says, it's art, right? But it's not really art if you're somebody at the free throw line every 30 seconds. So with the game flowing better, and you're seeing people have to be more creative with scoring the ball because defenders are being more physical. So now you got offensive players could get more physical as well, going to the rim.
Yep.
It goes both ways. So that's something that James Harden can look at. James Harden is a big dude. Take advantage of the fact that you could be more physical going to the rim now. Mm-hmm. Instead of flailing, like, okay, they being physical with me. I'm 6'5", 220. Let me be physical back. Let me get to the rim.
Listen, James is a big body, man. He got to use it properly.
Yes. No, that's just one thing that's underrated about him, is his size and his strength. And he needs to use it. Like, use that size and strength that you have, and you'll get more calls. With the way that it's set up now, if you use your size and strength and people have to hold on to you to stop you from scoring, that's when you'll get the calls. So I love the way that the game's being played right now. I know that offense sells tickets, but I think flow will keep people more entertained than just having offense, because you're having points scored, but not in a good fashion when it's all at the free throw line.
I agree. Well said, brother. And I definitely think it's keeping the game more balanced, I would say, as a whole. Last topic before we get on out of here. We got to do a little bit of play a little stock watch right now. A couple of teams had some early success in the beginning of the season right now. So I want to talk to you really quick on how much stock we're putting into some of these teams. So either you're cashing in or you're selling on the early success on some of these teams. We're going to start off first. We got to talk about those New York Knicks really quick, brother. Top 3 in offense, top 3 in the East right now. Randall is giving you 20, RJ 17, Kemba 15. The Garden is electric. The Garden is live. These fellas have, I look at this team and I'm seeing the excellent camaraderie out of everybody on this team. They look like they're all on the same page, all on one accord, playing together. Talk to me what you think about the Knicks right now. Their early hot start. Are you cashing in or are you selling on this team?
I am cashing in with a little caveat, though.
Okay.
I think they will be good, right? I picked them, like I did a little preview on my show where I did the betting version and we did the over-unders. And I definitely thought they would go over 41 wins. That's what it was set at on the betting sites. And I was like, that's crazy. They had 41 wins last year in a shortened season.
Yeah.
So why would you think it wouldn't be more than 41 this year? So I definitely was on their train as far as exceeding expectations. Now, do I think they will continue at this pace? Not so much. They're shooting threes crazy right now.
Yeah. They feeling good.
Yeah, so I think that will slow down a little bit just because, you know, the way basketball is, we've all gone through it. You have your ups and downs when it comes to shooting. But because they play defense, they'll be able to win games. And their defense hasn't been up to the level it was last year. But I think it can get back there as just the season starts to just even out. So I do buy them and I cash in. But I'll probably keep a little bit of change in the savings.
Oh, okay. you're gonna hold back some. I feel you on that. I'm gonna cash in on these brothers, man. Listen, I like the Knicks low key this year. Listen, I'm a little bit biased too because Kemba's one of my favorite players in the league. So once they got Kemba, I was like, damn, I gotta show the Knicks some love this year on the pod. So, but I'm going to cash in on the Knicks because I like how they're playing right now. Like I alluded to it earlier, like I like the camaraderie of this team. They are all on one accord. I do feel like everyone is on the same page, have the same goal. I would say that I'm still a little bit worried about them going into cold spells and cold spots because I like Randall. I feel like he's been playing better this year, but I still have to see an improvement for him on his one-on-one offensive play because we saw how the Knicks got into a little bit of trouble last year in the postseason playing against the Hawks when they were relying on relying on Randall to generate some buckets, and he couldn't really do it. He was having a tough time with John Collins. So I think Kemba will help out a lot with that. But also with Kemba, he can go cold at times. So I do think they still need to have a more strategic type offense with the New York Knicks. But I do think they are a work in progress. Now, do I think they're going to stay top 3 in the East this year? I don't think so. I think it's definitely a possibility that they could be top 5, top 4. I mean, they were 4 last year. So I could definitely see a top... I don't know if I could say 4 or 5 because I got a couple brothers ahead of them. But I would say I wouldn't be surprised if they get a top 5 seed for the Knicks. So I say that's worthy of a cash in.
Yeah, we on the same level when it comes to them, same expectations. And you had a little slip there, but I think that slip might be foretelling. Like when you started talking about Randall and you almost said RJ. I do think they have to depend on RJ to step up and be able to set up the offense through the pick and roll and be able to be the prime guy at times they depend on for scoring. Mm-hmm. I think come playoff time and come deep into the regular season, that's what's really going to matter. And that's what's going to propel them into that status of, okay, now we're cashing in all our chips on them. Yeah. As if he's able to take that next step.
Yeah, we're going to see because he's been playing excellent thus far. And I know he's in the running for the most improved. So we'll see how RJ steps up. The Chicago Bulls have been playing excellent this season. Top 3 in the East or top 4 in the East, I believe. Currently top 10 in offense, top 5 in defense, which is very surprising for a team that a lot of people say coming in after the summer we're going to struggle on the defensive end. They have been playing much better than everyone has expected. Levine is giving you 25. DeMar is giving you 23. DA, are you cashing in on the Bulls or are you selling a stock?
Ooh, this is a tough one.
Mm-hmm. It's early.
It's early. I'm going to sell just because of their early schedule so far. Mm-hmm. They have 1 quality win over Utah.
Yeah, they've been playing some scrubs too, low key. I hope a lot of people are noticing that. Even though I give the Bulls some love, they have been playing, some semi-decent team. But they did beat the Jazz the other night. Yeah,
like I said, the Jazz is a good win. They held them to 99 points. That's a good win, and it proves that the defense may be for real, which is very surprising. I was one of those people who was hesitant about the defense because we've never seen it from DeMar DeRozan. Yeah. We've never seen it from Zach LaVine.
Or Vooch.
We've never seen it. Or Vooch. And Vooch is somebody who's not only like bad on defense, but like really bad on defense for his career. So for me, I was like, I know Lonzo's a good defender, but outside of him, where's your defense going to come from? But it seems like they've found, some kind of a groove on that side. But again, you got Detroit twice. Detroit can't score on themselves. So when you talk about, that being into your defensive averages, it's going to have a little lower than it actually is going to be throughout the season. Toronto is not going to be a team that's great offensively. My Pelicans, not going to be a team that's great offensively. So they've gotten some wins in this early season over some teams that's not going to be great offensively, no matter who they play. Mm-hmm. So I want to see what they do going forward against better offensive teams. They got Boston coming up, who hasn't been the best offensively either. Philly twice, then Brooklyn. So we're going to get some tests coming up here, Golden State. So we're going to have some tests coming up these next few games to see if that defense is for real.
Yeah, the Bulls are most definitely going to be tested. They definitely have a tough slate of games coming up. You said you're selling or you're cashing?
I'm selling.
Or you selling? I'm going to cash in on this one. I'm going to cash in on the Bulls. I actually really like how they've been playing. You said it also as well. I'm cashing in because I've been very pleasantly surprised with the pace of play from this team. I knew Lonzo was going to be good on this team, but he's been better than expected for me. And seeing how he has control the offense, and he's controlling the offense in a way where he's not really dominating the ball. He's just pushing the pace a little bit. LaVine is getting a touch. He's getting to bring it up the court a few times. DeRozan is bringing it up the floor a few times. Lonzo is bringing it up the floor a few times. So they're really sharing a wealth in terms of touches, especially on the offensive side of the ball, because these are offensive players that we're talking about. So, once offensive players touch the ball a little bit, you don't have to shoot it, but as long as you touch it coming down the floor, it gives you that extra boost of energy that you need on defense. So I feel like that's also contributing to the excellent defense that they have been playing. And I think they are very committed to that end of the floor. So I got to give the Bulls some credit, and they've been pleasantly surprising to me. So I'm going to cash in on the Bulls, man. I feel like they can sustain this a little bit. I don't think they're going to be top 3 or wherever they're at right now. I got them in the bottom half of the East when it's all said and done, but I definitely got them making the playoffs. So I'm going to cash in on the Bulls with sustaining this level of play, but I think they'll be anywhere between. Damn, that's tough. The East is crazy when I'm thinking about the tough.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. It's crazy how normally in most years we wouldn't have to hesitate thinking about the East. But this year you have to hesitate and really think about it. Like, where's this team going to finish? Because there's so many good teams in the East this year.
There is. And the next team that we're going to talk about is another team that's battling. These 3 teams, we're going to talk about the Hornets right now because they are currently the number 1 offense in the league, which is crazy to me because I didn't see that one coming. Led by LaMelo, triple Bs all the way. They got 5 players averaging double figures in scoring. Dia, you cashing in on the Hornets right now or you selling?
I'm putting all my money on Green. I'm cashing in on Charlotte, bro. Like, coming into this year, I had a good feeling about them. I literally put money on them on the over-under was 38. I feel really good about that. So I think that's going to cash out. For them, man, I love LaMelo, the growth he's shown on the offensive end. He could be inconsistent. He has nights where he can disappear. But for the most part, he's really setting his team up and they're fun to watch. And I think that's one of the reasons they're so good on offense is they're having fun out there. And Miles Bridges.
Yes. Killing.
Killing. And he's been somebody who's been showing flashes of this complete game. And now we're starting to see it. And you forget he's only 23 because he's out here doing man things when he comes to jamming on people and stuff like that. Yeah. So you forget how young he is. But 23 coming into his own. The only thing that makes me hesitate when it comes to the Hornets is will Gordon Hayward stay healthy?
Man.
Because he is a huge part of this. Like his veteran leadership, somebody who can relieve the offense. Like there's times where they might get stuck and they know they can go to Gordon and he could do a pick and roll and get them back into a good situation offensively. If he's not healthy, that's when I say things could fall apart for him like last year. Like once, like they were rolling until he got hurt. Then they fell back in the standings and ended up getting blown out in that playing game. So if Gordon Hayward stays healthy, if I could guarantee that, oh man. But right now, all my imaginary chips, I'm putting on the Hornets.
Guarantee.
It is. It's a tough one. He doesn't have a history of staying healthy.
Yeah.
But he's a big part of it. So that's something I have to take into account. But for right now, with the way Bridges is playing, Hayward, even Oubre is out here balling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like the whole roster, because LaMelo is controlling everything in such a good way. And like you said, number one in offense and not bad on defense. Not great, but not bad on defense. So I think that the way they play, if they can improve defensively throughout the year and not be terrible, continue to be this good offensively, I'm cashing in on them.
All great points, my brother. And I hope this one doesn't bite me in the ass. But I'm going to sell my stock on these Hornets right now. Listen, I don't even know why I'm selling this. And it might bite me in the ass. Who knows? Listen, I like them, but I don't know if I trust them right now, DA. I really don't know why. I guess it's a gut feeling. I love LaMelo. I love the pace of this team, how they play, number one offense in the league. I've been watching every single Hornets game. My man Terry Rozier, one of my guys.
He's doing his thing too, yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, I really like their team. Like, I really want to believe in them. But I feel like something is going to happen towards the mid-season, end of season, which is going to knock them back in the standings. And I think they're still going to be fine. Like, they're going to be a play-in tournament type of team. But I feel like they're just going to miss the playoffs because the East is low-key very deep this year. So I'm not mad at you for cashing in on that. I really wanted to cash in on them. But I'm like, you know what? If I'm being honest with myself, I didn't even have them making the playoffs this season. So then I would be lying if I would just be backtracking off of what I said. So I'm going to sell my stock, but reluctantly on the Hornets, because I actually really want to see them succeed. I want to see LaMelo in the playoffs too.
Oh, man, I would love to see LaMelo in the playoff series.
Definitely. For sure.
It'll be crazy. Like I said, I believe in them, man. I had picked them to make the playoffs. The team that I picked to miss the playoffs that people might be surprised by, I picked Boston to miss the playoffs.
Oh, wow. Damn.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at that, man. Listen, they're disappointing me right now, man. I could go a whole episode on how they disappointed me, man. I don't like how they playing.
Nah, I had a feeling coming into this year, like I know that Kemba didn't do much for them because he was hurt the whole time, but they needed that type of point guard. I know Schroeder was a good pickup, especially at the price. But when you out there, you depend on Marcus Smart to run your team. I like Smart a lot, but not in that position.
Yeah, I know. I don't like him as a starting point guard.
No, because he has those moments where he's going to have a game where he hits 5 threes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be the worst thing that happens, because for the next 2 weeks, he's going to play bad because he hit those 5 threes in that game. Like, that's the type of player you're dealing with right there because of his confidence. So for me, Boston was a team that I had that would slip out, and I think Charlotte could slip in that spot.
Damn, that's a tough one. I'm not even mad at you for thinking that, bro, but it would be disappointing for me because I need them making the playoffs. But I hear that 100%. One more team. We got to talk about the Washington Wizards. Are we cashing in on their stock? Or are we selling their stock? The Washington Wizards, they're playing solid defense. I think they're 9th in the league in defense or something. They're top 10. They have a formidable offense with their main pieces playing well. You got Trez over there, Kuz, Beal, Dinwiddie has been playing excellent coming off of injury. DA, are you cashing in on the Wizards or are you selling their stock?
I'm going to cash in. I'm going to cash in on them as a playoff team. Now, as a top seed, no. But I am cashing on them as a playoff team who, even if they're a play-in team, they're going to be a 7-8 team going into that playoffs game. I really like what I'm seeing from them. I think that they have a chip on their shoulder because people like myself wrote them off. I didn't think they'll be good this year. But when you look at their roster, you're like, okay, these pieces kind of fit together.
Yeah.
It's not the typical pieces that you would want. But when you look at the Lakers right now, probably need someone like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
They can use them.
Yeah, they can use them right now. I like, Bill and Dinwiddie as a combo together. I think is a good one that I didn't see coming. Because Dinwiddie, I wouldn't say we all forgot, but it was easy to forget how good he is because we haven't seen him play at a high level in a while. So you got him playing well. Bill, we all know, is a walking bucket. I love the intensity that Harold brings. Kuzma has even had good moments this year. So I think this team, sometimes you just get that team that's perfect for each other, and they all have a chip because they were just shipped away from another situation. I think that's what we have this year. We have a team that's going to come in and play tough, that's trying to prove something. And it's going to be the team that you don't want to play because they're always going to have that chip on their shoulder that they want to play hard. And this team is one of those teams that you can't really explain why they work, but they work.
I agree. I'm cashing in on the Wizards, though. So we are in agreement here. I really like this Wizards team, man. They really put together really nicely low-key, man. I like the pairing between the center combo between Gafford and Montrez. I think those two are like a prototypical nice combo at that center spot because Gafford is a nice rim protector. Montrez comes in and scores out of that position, and he's averaging a double-double off the bench right now. So Kuzma has been playing really well. I think he's averaging a double-double too. Everybody on this Wizards team has a chip on their shoulder right now and are trying to prove something. So I really like the mentality on this Wizards team, and I do like the pieces. And another thing too, I always talk about camaraderie. Love the camaraderie on this team also as well. They look like they actually like each other on this team, and that definitely makes a difference when you're trying to make a run in the league. So I definitely like the Wizards, and I'm cashing in on them too, brother. I agree.
Nah, 100%. Yeah, we're on the same page with that one. Like, cause like you said, chemistry matters.
Yeah,
that chip on your shoulder matters. They have both of those things going in, and you got to give a shout out to the coach. It's like he's doing a good job as well, Wes Unseld Jr. there. So I really like what I'm seeing from them.
Definitely. Last one here. The Golden State Warriors. Right now, they are the number 1 seed. Are they the 1 or top 2 in the West? I forgot which one.
They tied with Utah, right?
Yeah. So cashing in or selling their stock on being a top 2 team in the West. DA Warriors talking. Top 2 in the West. We know they're going to be a playoff team, but are they going to be top 2? You cashing in on their hot start right now?
Looking at the standings right now.
Thinking.
I'm going to sell top 2. Now, the reason I'm selling top 2, you might like this reason. I still believe in your boys in Phoenix.
Talk to me.
I think like they got out to a little slow start here, but I think they're going to recover and be able to get in a little groove and get on a little winning streak. And I can see Golden State coming back down to earth a little bit, but just a little bit. So I'm not going to buy top 2, but I can definitely see them top 4 for sure. When you think about some of the teams that's not going to be there because of injuries, like the Clippers. You think about right now, Dallas is the top 4 seed. I don't see them continuing that. I just don't like that roster at all. Minnesota in the mix right now at 3-2. That's not going to continue. So you have teams there now who aren't going to be there in the way of Phoenix going forward.
To even out.
Exactly. So I can see Phoenix creeping back up there and getting one of those top 2 seeds with Utah. I definitely think Utah is a great regular season team. So they're going to be one of those top 1 or 2 seeds. So I got to go to State top 4, but not top 2. But I love what I'm seeing.
I agree with you, man. I'm definitely selling the stock on them being a number 2 seed in the West, but I definitely could see them being top 4 because I see the Mavs dropping down a little bit. I think the Nuggets are still going to be up in the fray. The Lakers, we don't know what they're going to look like right now. They could go really, really up or really down right now. We'll see how their season goes, if they can even stay healthy to have one of those home court advantage seeds. With the Warriors, I really like how they're playing. I think they're definitely getting that groove back, and they came into the season with a lot of continuity as well. So they're pretty much picking up right where they left off last year. Even though they didn't make the playoffs, they were still playing well towards the end of the year. So I'm going to sell them also on top 2 in the West, but I think they definitely will be a top 4 seed in the West. And that's still a step up from last year, not even making the damn playoffs. So it's still like a cash in, but it's a sell on the top 2 though. I'll tell you that.
And I'll say Klay Thompson coming back with that chip on his shoulder because he ain't making top 75. Like they're gonna be something to rock with.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. And as this concluded, we were just talking about the Bulls. The Bulls just came back, I think, from 20-something down and just beat the Celtics on their home floor just now. So now the Bulls are 6-1. So man, these Bulls are looking good right now. I can't even lie. So I'm actually excited to see. Hopefully the Bulls do stay intact and do make the playoffs because it's going to be rocking over there in Chicago. I'll tell you that. Sure.
Yeah, for sure. And that's another reason why I don't trust them Celtics, man. They can't hold on to a lead.
Oh my God! My blood is boiling right now. Looking at that score right now, it's looking like the playing for sure for these brothers, but we'll see. DA, man, Damian Adams, I appreciate you for joining me as always, my brother. It's always a pleasure to talk hoops with you. I respect your knowledge. I respect your show. You got a wonderful show, my brother. Everyone needs to go tap in and go make sure you are downloading and subscribing to The Real Deal with Damian Adams. I appreciate you joining me, my brother. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, bro. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the show. Love the energy and the information you bring each and every week, man. And there's very few doing it like that, man. So you truly do have the top NBA pod in the game.
Oh,
I'm glad I could be.
I appreciate that, my brother. I appreciate it. Listen, there's not a lot of brothers like us doing this. So, we gotta break down the gate some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? Because we all gonna be up there, brother. Especially you with me, right up there. So
for sure, bro.
Of course, I appreciate the work you do. So that's episode 165, family. Make sure you subscribe and doing all those good things. Follow me on Twitter, on Instagram. Follow my man DA. Make sure you interacting with us and all of that good stuff. Episode 165, and we out.